After many testings and comparison, this is it. My honest experience with two of the best phones from two of the best companies in the world, Samsung versus Apple, Galaxy S24 Ultra versus iPhone 15 Pro Max after the real-world usage. Galaxy S24 Ultra is indeed a step up, but it has also lost its crown to Apple in an area where they used to dominate them for years. Let's get right into it. Depending on where you're watching this video, Galaxy S24 Ultra might be cheaper than the 15 Pro Max, or it might be the opposite case if you're in the US. Unlike Apple, who never offers any discounts for their customers, especially with their latest iPhones, Samsung is offering their biggest discount for a limited period of time if you take advantage of the pre-order period, which in my books gives Samsung a win when it comes to the value is concerned. Now, I'm not gonna lie, both phones do absolute justice to the price they have when we talk about the design. Extremely premium, two of the most very recognizable phones out on the market. Both have titanium on the sides for that extra premiumness, along with matte glass finish with plenty of colors to choose from. Of course, S24 Ultra offers a lot more colors than the 15 Pro Max, but when it comes to real world usage, things are completely different. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is unapologetically ultra, and by that I mean it is truly a boxy design with sharp corners. With previous models, edges were a bit rounded, plus a curved display also made the phone slightly more comfortable to hold, but this is proper boxy. I really love it, and this is exactly how I imagined that peak Samsung Galaxy flagship design would look in the future. With that being said, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a more comfortable device to hold thanks to its rounded sides, plus it's also lighter as well as slightly thinner than the S24 Ultra. Considering these phones are so big, weight does kind of matter, so by these metrics, Apple does have an advantage over the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Now, in terms of the screen, things are completely flipped. It's kind of funny that Samsung actually makes the display for the iPhones as well, and they have let Apple win in the past, but this time they have said enough is enough. They have utilized the most durable Gorilla Glass armor on the S24 Ultra, which has noticeably less reflections compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max or any of the phones on the market. Like, this is the first phone to have this new display. While both phones are generally very bright and have great colors, S24 Ultra will win when it comes to the peak brightness levels, coming at 2600 nits versus 2000 on the 15 Pro Max. And finally, the joy I feel when watching media, especially on Netflix or any horizontal video on the S24 Ultra, it's amazing because there is no notch. The single punch hole takes a lot less space, so it's aesthetically quite a bit cleaner. Now, both phones have excellent forms of security. I mean, doesn't matter if you choose iOS or Android, both companies have very good security standards. Now, as we unlock the phone and get into the software, this time around, the game between Apple and Samsung is a bit different. iOS 17.3 versus One UI 6.1, both are really feature-packed. Like in 2024, you get plenty of customization even on iOS, but this time the single biggest difference maker is the AI implementation with the Galaxy AI on the S24 Ultra. When Samsung first announced these features, a lot of Apple fans were like, these are all very gimmicky features, but let me tell you, I am genuinely enjoying these AI features to the point where I know when I'm using the iPhone, I'm not gonna have that same kind of smart experience. I'm someone who writes multiple emails every day speaking to different brands, and the fact that I can use AI to turn my ordinary messages into professional tone with a lot of customization, it's such an amazing time-saving tool. Plus, now I can save so much time when I'm browsing web pages. No need to scroll through ads to read the whole web page. I can just hit summarize and get a quick summary of what's written and save time. While I love the wallpaper customization on iOS, it doesn't have that AI generative wallpaper feature that I have on the S24 Ultra, which is such a fun feature to use. Plus, if you're someone who speaks to a lot of overseas people, or if you're someone who travels a lot, the amazing translation features on the go that don't require any internet connectivity, they can be very useful in those situations. All this, for me personally, makes the S24 Ultra more of an exciting phone to use when it comes to software compared to the iOS as of now, because Apple is also working on their AI features coming with iOS 18, but that won't be happening anytime soon, not until we see the iPhone 16 lineup. Now when it comes to performance, these phones are just ridiculously powerful. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy on the S24 Ultra versus Apple A17 Pro. In my detailed speed testing, I was happy to see that Samsung has also polished their animations to the point where they look identical to the level of iOS. I haven't had any lag or issues on the S24 Ultra so far, which means that Samsung really has done their homework when it comes to software smoothness. Now there are some areas where iPhone is still superior when it comes to processing of those high megapixel images. Plus, I still feel like iPhone has a little bit faster shutter speed compared to the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but the difference is not that noticeable. Now, when you're spending $1,000+ on these phones, you want to have the best camera, and this is where things get very interesting. Samsung used to always win in one category, and that is the zoom. But ever since Apple has brought their 5x lens, and now that Samsung has brought their zoom from 10x to 5x, that advantage that Samsung once had, they have lost it. The difference of image quality between these two phones at 5x magnification or in between 5 to 10x or even beyond that level up until 25x or 20x, the difference is quite small, where I feel like the S24 Ultra is doing just a slightly better job, but really it's just a very negligible difference. Just for a comparison, S23 Ultra with its proper 10x zoom used to noticeably be better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max at 10x or beyond that resolution, and it still does a slightly better job than the S24 Ultra when you go past that 10x level. With that being said, Galaxy S24 Ultra still offers more of a complete zoom experience thanks to an additional 3x optical zoom sensor. You can definitely use that to take portrait mode images from a bit wider range, in addition to the 5x portraits, which by the way look incredible on both of these two phones with insane depth detail and the background blur. Now as for the main lens, both phones take amazing pictures in their own style when it comes to colors. It will come down to personal preference, but once again, Galaxy S24 Ultra missed the memo of how to do megapixels right. The photos are still being processed at 12 megapixel by default, which is less than the 24 megapixel default resolution of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I love how I don't have to worry about this on the iPhone. I can just point and shoot photos, and phone can automatically decide when to bump the resolution to 24 or when to take it to 12 megapixel in low light situations. Samsung still takes 12 megapixel photos by default with the option to switch to 50 or 200 megapixel modes manually. Now in the Expert RAW application, Samsung did implement the ability to take 24 megapixel resolution shots, but they do take quite a bit of time to process, which is why we don't see it in the default camera app. Considering majority of people will use default mode for taking photos, iPhone will have that detail advantage. Now when it comes to videos, Samsung has improved their processing in terms of low light performance on the S24 Ultra compared to the previous generation, but it's still not quite enough to level with Apple, especially when you're shooting in low light situations. Despite everything Android manufacturers are doing, iPhone still has the best video performance out of any smartphone right now, with Samsung definitely not that far behind, taking the second spot. One of the best things about the video is that you can switch lenses when you're shooting 4K 60 FPS video. Because of this, lens transitioning is quite smoother than the previous generation, and I would say very close to the lens switching performance on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now how does the camera performs in social media applications? And in my detailed testing, I've done a detailed video on it. Social media apps like Instagram and Snapchat are indeed optimized for the S24 Ultra, especially Snapchat, which I think works the best, and it's quite similar to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. iPhone still takes a bit better quality videos with these apps when you're shooting in low light. Again, kind of the same advantage it has when it comes to the actual main camera app, but in all honesty, the difference is quite close. Now I'm talking about the battery life in the very last section of this video because it is just so good on both of these two phones. In my testing, the S24 Ultra has been a little bit better, but in real life usage, I think both are really good, lasting me one day comfortably with no issues. Some people had mixed results where the iPhone did a little bit worse, or in some tests it did better, but in all honesty, both phones are just absolute kings when it comes to the battery performance. So what's the verdict? Well, I would say Galaxy S24 Ultra as a whole phone is more exciting thanks to all the Galaxy AI features as well as all those extra legacy features which makes Samsung phones, like the ability to charge other devices by utilizing the reverse wireless charging. Having a built-in stylus on this phone, if you're someone into drawing, this could be a very important feature that you don't see on any smartphone flagship on the market. Cameras are still one of the most versatile on any phone with so many features. If you look in the software, features that may seem missing are present if you find them and if you have the patience for them. Like I said, it may not be the best out-of-the-box ready camera system. It's still extremely capable and very powerful. But when it comes to the out-of-the-box experience, like with the camera, the fact that you can take default 24 megapixel shots and have a great video performance, especially in low light, and if you're someone who's not impressed with all the AI features and you are fine with your current smart level of your software on your phone, then iOS and iPhone could be the right choice. There's really not one winner for every person. It's gonna depend on what you value more in a phone. But this was my honest experience with the Galaxy S24 Ultra in comparison to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, having used both of these two phones in real world. Hope this video helps you out in making that purchase decision. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Which one is your pick between the S24 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Let's have a discussion in the comments. Subscribe if you're new here. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.